Even though addition and subtraction of decimals are straightforward in a 10-1 machine, performing multiplication and division on them can be awkward. The trouble is that a 10-1 machine is based on whole dots, not parts of dots, and so it is tricky to make easy sense of pictures. But there are ways to play with dots and boxes nonetheless. Certainly, basic multiplication is straightforward. For instance, 2 and 615 thousandths times 7, you just multiply everything by 7, you get 14 and 42 tenths, 7 hundredths, 35 thousandths. And then I can do 3 explosions on the far right. So that becomes 10 dots in the box to the left. I can do another explosion. So 42 plus 1 is 43. I can do 4 explosions. And then 14 plus 4 is 18. So I end up with 18 and 305 thousandths. We can also explain a rule that students are taught to memorize, that if you multiply a decimal by 10, just shift the decimal point one place to the right. So for instance, 31 and 42 hundredths times 10 is basically 30t, 10, 40 tenths, 20 hundredths. And then as you do explosions, everything's just moved one place to the decimals just moved one place to the right. We can also multiply decimals by decimals, but now the work is getting a little less fun. So consider 2 and 15 hundredths times 3 tenths. So here's what 2 and 15 hundredths looks like. I have 2 dots, then 1 dot, then 5 dots. And let's think about what 3 tenths looks like. It's 3 dots to the right of where you would put a 1 dot for the number 1. So what this means is that to compute 2 and 15 hundredths times 3 tenths, we need to replace each dot that appears in the picture with 3 dots to the right to where that dot should be. So multiplying by 3 tenths, I take the 2 and multiply by 3, I get but 6 in the box to the right. The 1 dot becomes 3 dots to the right, and the 5 dots becomes 15 dots to the right. And if I simplify, here is 10 dots, so kapoo. Add 1 dot here, so this becomes 5, 4, 6. So 645 thousandths. So you can see that multiplication with decimals is doable, but awkward. Well, let's try a couple anyway. So 1 and 64 hundredths times 4 tenths. Let me make myself 2 boxes. So I start off with 1 and 64 hundredths. So there's 1 in the ones place, 6 in the tenths, and 4 in the hundredths. Now to multiply by 4 tenths would mean basically every number is going to be multiplied by 4, but to one place to the right. So this 1 here becomes 4, 6 becomes 24, and this 4 here becomes 16. And then I can do explosion. 24 plus 1 is 25, so I can do 2 explosions. And 4 plus 2 is 6. So I end up with 6 and 650, or I end up with 0 and 656 thousandths. 0.656. And try one more. 8 and 21 hundredths times 7 hundredths. So I'm going to give myself a lot of space. And then repeat it. So alright, so I start off with 8 and 21 hundredths. Now think about for 7 hundredths, what's going to happen is I'm going to multiply by 7, but I'm going to do it 2 places to the right. So there's 2 decimals, 2 places to the right. So the 8 becomes 56 in the hundredths place. 2 times 7 is 14. 1 times 7 is 7. And now I'll have 7, 14, 57, and then decimal points. So this becomes 5,747 10,000ths.